Hi, yeah, what's up? Okay, quick disclaimer. This is a music podcast about music where we play music and we listen to music. Due to copyright, we cannot play the entire song in the podcast. So instead, if you're listening to this on a public platform such as YouTube or Spotify, we have the list of songs in the description if you want to do your homework ahead of time, or you can listen as we go. We will mention the song before we quote unquote play it and talk about it. So feel free to pause and go listen to it on your own. Or you could not listen at all and have no idea what the fuck we're talking about, and that's totally fine. We just appreciate having your ears. Thanks for tuning in.
Sleeper Suplex!
Hello.
Hello. So, people of Earth, we are here recording live from a dumpster next to your favorite city in your largest state, whatever. Welcome.
Favorite city.
In your favorite
Whatever
city.
that may be.
Whatever that may be. We're so agreeable. So, my friends, welcome to the pilot, the proof of concept episode of Sleeper Suplex.
Sleeper Suplex.
So, I am your co-host, Kobe. This is my co-host and your other co-host, George.
I want to make something clear.
Yeah.
I am audio engineer first,
Okay.
co-host second.
Do you want me to introduce you like that from now on?
No.
No. So, before we start, I think it's important. I'm going to keep this as brief as I can, but I think it's important to at least lead in with an idea of what this fucking is, right? So, this is going to function more or less like a friends and family radio show, which is the sort of idea.
That does not mean family friendly.
No. Anyways, each week, my co-host, audio engineer, whatever, button pusher, I think he said, we are going to compile a few songs that we have discovered that week, or just shit that we want to talk about, stuff that maybe we've just been dying to get in front of an audience.
As you speak. Do you think that's going to sound good over audio?
I clapped over
are
here.
You clapping?
I clapped over.
It's
okay.
a sensitive microphone, Kobe.
I haven't recorded a podcast before. I'm not going to clap. All right, I'm going to put my hands behind my back. My hands are behind my back. But basically, we're going to compile some songs, either ones that we've heard a while ago that we really want to talk about, whatever, and we're going to play them for you, the audience, and each other for the first time. We do not know what the other one picked until literally the moment before it's played, more or less. Each week will be a variable number. This week it's going to be 3 each because we are doing, this is a trial run. And in between each, we are going to talk about what about the song sticks out. We're going to talk about topics that spring to mind when listening to it, or just anything we really want to fucking talk about. It's going to function very much like a radio show from the days of yore, where they would just kind of play a song and then talk about random shit.
The days of yore.
The days of yore. And the one thing that we want to make clear, I think, my compatriot and I agree on this, is that we are not going to be limited by genre. We are not going to be limited by mood. We are not going to be limited by era, eon, place of birth, any of it.
Fuck your boxes.
We're going to fuck your boxes. So all this to say, when it comes right down to it, this is going to be George and myself earnestly giving you a playlist of the week as it were.
Earnestly is debatable.
Earnestly as we can, controversially as we can. So, this is Sleeper Suplex, and we look forward to being of service. Is there anything you would like to add before we hop right into it?
No.
No? You got all your steam out
I
to
got
start?
everything I needed to get out.
Okay.
So, let's get right into it. Episode 1 of Two White Guys with Opinions.
2 white guys with opinions. Woo! I'm not going to clap again. I almost clap. So, all right. So, I believe it is my serve.
It is your serve.
It is my serve. So,
The ball is in your court, my
the
friend.
ball is in my court. So, to start, this is going to be my first song of the week. The first song played on Sleeper Suplex, my friends, is going to be a punk band from Olympia, Washington, based in the 90s, the crucible of the punk grunge movement, my friends. It is going to be a Riot Girl song. We will get all into that whenever we can. My friend, it is going to be Dig Me Out by Sleater-Kinney, first and foremost.
Dig Me Out
By Sleater-Kinney.
by Sleater-Kinney. Impressive air guitars on you, Kobe.
Ugh, I was getting into it.
We should have done video for this first one.
we're
We
not gonna-
should have done video for this
I'm
first one
so
because those air guitars were sweet as cherry pie, my dude. That shit was beautiful.
When I hear a song that I fuck with on my own, especially, like I could be in the car. It's bad when I'm in the car driving alone, like on the highway and shit. I swear to God, people probably look at me like I'm on ayahuasca or some shit because I'm going for it. So this
do air guitars while driving.
I'm a Massachusetts driver, bro. Since when, and I'm still better than half of them on the road. In any event, my friends.
That's what I'm saying. Without your hands on the wheel, I'm surprised you haven't been killed by other Massachusetts drivers. That's the issue.
The night is still young. So my point is, I have been singing this all week in the build up to this. When I figured out that we were going to be doing our trial run this week, I have been singing it since I heard it. This is, like I said, "Dig Me Out" by Sleater-Kinney off of their third record of the same name. This is the title track. So one thing that sticks out to me immediately, first of all, the guitars on this song sound apocalyptic. They sound horror movie-esque. Do you know what I mean?
Explain that.
So what I mean by that is, have you ever heard the song? Not to immediately give you well, have you ever heard the song? You definitely have. You've heard "Holiday in Cambodia," right? And you've heard "California Uber Alice."
Mm-hmm. Dead Kennedys.
Right. So the number one thing about those, the instrumentation on those songs that sticks out to me is you feel like you're in a horror movie being chased by someone with a chainsaw. Feel me? You feel very.
Do you?
Yes, I do. Yes,
Interesting.
I do.
I've never gotten that. I know what you mean, though.
Right.
I know how stylistically you can have that sort of intensity.
Well, you're a horror movie guy. You know
Absolutely,
what I mean.
yeah.
When there's like a really imagine yourself, right? Like close your eyes and let me paint you a picture.
All right. Eyes are closed.
Horror movie end.
For the record, eyes are closed.
For the record, he's not a liar. I'm looking at his eyelids. So horror movie. You're walking.
Closed eyelids.
You're walking. Shut up. You're walking through a dark house, right? Suddenly, you turn a corner. Floorboard creaks, and you hear a violin string play something really high, like you know what I mean?
For the record, creeped out.
For the record, creeped out. You can open your eyes now. So what I'm saying is, in that moment, there's a feeling that I personally get from that, and it's this elevated, tinny, right up in your fucking like brain, the top of your head. You're like, you know what I mean?
That was good.
Thank you.
That was a good noise.
Thanks, brother. So
Holy
what
shit.
I'm saying to you is that it feels very horror movie. If you feel like you're being chased, not just because of the tempo, but because it's very high up in the air. It's very tinny. There's a power to it, but it's not a heft. It's in how rapid fire. It's in how high in the ear it plays. That's one of the things. The other thing, and this is one of the notes I wrote, I adore Corin Tucker's voice. That is the lead singer of Sleater-Kinney. I adore her voice. I have tried Sleater-Kinney on before. Liked him, but I don't think I was in a place to listen to him. Reheard this album this week. I am in love with her voice on this song. I love it.
What puts you in a place to listen to them now?
I think that to listen to punk music especially, but to listen to punk music, right? You sort of need to be willing to be dealing with some very high energy, imperfect people and voices. What struck me about this song instantly is that this song is, I wouldn't say that it's virtuosic. Its lead singer isn't a virtuoso. However, she is exactly what this song needs. The way she hits the notes and the way she teeters on that line, same as the guitar. She teeters in a high register.
On the Dig Me Out line.
Right, I'm not going to sing it, but on the Dig Me Out line, she's very high up with the guitars, but there's a heft there. There's a power. You feel her like punching you in the chest with it. Adore her voice. To be honest with you, punk voices are not always enjoyable to listen to in a vacuum. Like the band we were just talking about, Dead Kennedys. I love Jello Biafra. I think he's the only singer the Dead Kennedys ever should have had. I think the fact that they had such a falling out over money, ironically, because they're a punk band, anti-money, whatever, so cynical and all that. I think the fact that they had a falling out is a tragedy, and I think it sucks. I haven't listened to any of their new stuff, to be fair. They could have a great new lead singer.
Ouch.
My point is, not a unpopular opinion. The point is, he doesn't exactly have a great voice. You wouldn't be like, who's the all-star starting four dream band? Your vocalist, if Jello Biafra is your pick for vocalist, you're insane. That is an insane pick. But I love him, and he works. But this voice in this song legitimately is catchy. It's legitimately carrying a tune. It's legitimately unbelievable. However, the topic that it brought to mind, I'm not going to take up the whole podcast talking about this one song. We have more to get to. However, the last thing I want to say real quick is I thought about how some genre lines are so honestly asinine to me. You know what I mean? Like where, like how specific genre lines are nowadays is always so bizarre to me. So, excuse me. So, specifically, this is fitting into the riot girl genre. You're familiar. I think Babes in Toyland falls into that category too.
Have you heard, small tangent, have you heard, I want to say it's Emil and the Sniffers. I don't know how you pronounce that first name.
I think Emil's right. I think Emil's right.
Emil, yeah.
I think I have. I'm not a lot.
Dude, that's a good modern take on this stuff.
So,
yes, continue.
sorry. All this to say, I think it's weird that we've boiled it down like this. I think I looked it up, and I'm pretty sure that Riot Girl was originated by women in the punk scene who felt ostracized by how uber masculine it sort of was. How this is a boys' club type situation. Right?
Yeah.
And it's good that they found a niche, and it's very, very good. My feeling on it is the same feeling I have about. Have you ever heard the bullshit genre bubble grunge? You ever heard of that?
No.
So bubble grunge is not in so many terms, but more or less, it is, to my knowledge, and I could be totally wrong about this, and I could get checked on it. It is grunge for women vocalists. According to Google, it is an alternative music scene for bands like Collective Soul, Bush, Third Eye Blind, Matchbox 20. All dude-fronted bands. I had only ever heard it ascribed to women-fronted grunge bands. My feeling on it is I'm glad that, from what I could find out, it was a safe space in the punk umbrella. There was a safe space for Riot Girl functioned as a safe space for women, for members of the LGBTQ plus community. Obviously, always a very good thing, especially at that time.
Because this is the 90s.
This is in the 90s, right? Which is like we have it awful now. 30 years ago, I cannot imagine. I was not alive in the 90s. So I feel as though putting an extra label on this sort of, if the first thing you say about it is Riot Girl and not punk, I only worry that it's being like, oh, it's the girls go over there, they make punk music over there. It's Riot Girl. It's it's really cute. Like even the phrase girl, it's like not woman, it's girl.
Yeah.
And listen. I understand me sitting here as, first of all, a dude, second of all, a white dude, third of all, a straight, cis white dude. I understand it is not my place to say, well, we shouldn't really call it Riot Girl. We're really not giving them the like. I'm not going to be the one to say that. What I'm saying is I worry when we over distill shit like that it becomes very much like a women making one quality of the same genre, men making the same quality. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's my fear. And I'm glad that they ignore me. This is not a move. Riot Girl had its rise, climax, fall before I was fucking born. So this is just the ramblings of me as I sat outside of my place of work today, scribbling notes. But I don't know. I just think we sort of have to tread carefully when talking about genre lines like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
You have any thoughts on that? I sort of just screamed at you, and I'm sorry.
He did not scream at me, for the record.
Okay.
I mean, I'm happy to talk about the actual song.
Please do. Please do. What did it make you think? What did it make you feel?
This is my first time hearing it.
Yes.
Again, this is just as much of a surprise to me as it is for you guys out there. But I enjoyed it very much. I mean, I'm a big punk rock guy. Mm-hmm. It sounds very classic punk rock. I looked it up because the sound quality is very good, so I assumed it was a modern thing. But I was looking it up as we were talking, and it's from the 90s. You know, and it sounds like authentic, pure punk rock from the 90s, and I love that shit. And I love the refrain. I love the constant, dig me out, dig me out. Like that's so sick. It gives me a lot of like I mean, not as blatant and vulgar. I mean, it could be, but it reminds me of like a lot of the Nirvana stuff, like rape me, all that shit. I love the idea of just taking like a interpretable phrase and just shouting it, and like you're right about the horror movie guitar. I think it really keeps up with her. I think it gives the singer a lot of power. I mean, you can take this and you can throw it in acoustic and it would be like a very, very soft, flowy, like really catchy song. But the fact that her voice is carried by the adrenaline of these other instruments like really helps to keep that locomotive pumping the whole time.
Oh yeah.
And especially how it kind of dies down at the end there. Another like trope of punk rock where you just kind of let the guitar, like, what do you call that? When you let go of the string. And listeners, please forgive me. I am not a music student.
I'm not either, for the record.
I listen to a lot of music, and here I am pretending like I'm good enough to make a show about music. But I do not know music terminology. I cannot play any instruments besides the kazoo. I am nasty on the kazoo.
My boy's a freak with the kazoo.
I'm a freak with the kazoo.
My boy is a weapon.
But I do own a guitar from when I was 10 years old that's collecting dust in my attic, so I think that gives me some authority. But yeah, I like shit like that. Those little details, those little like imperfections. I mean, you prefaced it that way. Yeah. But
it's interesting, and this is the last point I'll make, and then I have to go to the bathroom. You listeners won't. We'll cut that out.
Yeah.
My point.
We should get chugging too. We're like 20 minutes in. We did one song.
So that's on me, and I'm very sorry. So my last thing I'll say is that the sort of provocativeness of the phrase that you bring up is a very very interesting point, because one of the shirts, I'm a big band T-shirt guy.
This is true.
Because I'm a dork. It's like my whole fucking closet.
He's wearing a band T-shirt right now.
I'm wearing a Strokes T-shirt for those listening at home. Yeah. So I don't know why I put that voice on. So
yeah, it's the Strokes. You got to say it.
You got
seductive voice.
One of the shirts that I was looking into is a album by the band L7, and the album is called "Smell the Magic." And the cover on Spotify is this purple. I don't even remember much of it. It's pretty vague and basic to me, but it's a purple design. The tour they went on for the Smell the Magic tour is a woman it's shot from below, and it's a woman in red leather, and she is standing with her legs split wide. This is another Riot Girl band, by the way. Split wide, with a man placed right between her legs, and in big yellow letters it says L7, smell the magic. And I just think, here's the thing, I think that's such a fucking funny ass, cool ass, sweet aesthetic to go with. And that's one of the things that I fucking love about Riot Girl. It is Bikini Kill too. I don't know how I didn't mention Bikini Kill. I fucking love Bikini Kill. That's another one. So I just think that it's a very cool that they're able to be at the forefront and be like, we don't want to fucking play in your sandbox anyways. We want to go do Riot Girl shit. I think that's fucking sweet. I think they should be punk Riot Girl, not Riot Girl punk. That is my. So if I can boil down my hot take to a cold take, that's my statement.
Which ironically is about as punk as it gets.
Yes.
I mean, the whole idea of punk is to be punk and counterculture, and to counter against your own culture, which is punk music.
Yes. The irony of the punk, the irony of the punks all being super fucking fastidious about where their lines are drawn, where it's like, oh, you're not wearing the right color dock shoelaces, and it's like, what the fuck did you start this for?
See, on paper, it sounds wrong.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love that sort of inner fighting, because it brings out more punk. No. It's punk squared. Yeah. You're compounding on top of the shit you're already rebelling against in society. You're rebelling against each other as well. Yeah. It is beautiful. I mean, I'm a big competition guy. You'll probably hear this a lot more, especially as we get into different, more competitive genres later on. But I love competition.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes.
Because I am all for people being pushed to take a risk or take something new because they're unsatisfied with the way things are going right now.
Yeah.
You look like you have to piss.
I have to piss very, very bad.
Kobe's going to go piss.
I'm going to go piss.
We're going to take a pause.
We're
back in, and Kobe has a quick little thing. Let's see your quick little thing, Kobe.
His eyes got so wide, and he put his hands on his thighs when he said that.
Not on my thighs, on the armchair. But I see where your head's at, and I appreciate it.
All I wanted to say is, sorry for taking that long. George is now going to take however long he wants with this next song, and then we were going to sprint to the finish. I'm sorry. That's all I wanted to say. Intro your song, please, my friend. George is up next.
So, when it comes to my songs, how do I put this? I spent way too much money for an art degree. And by God, I am not using that art degree economically. So, God help you, listeners, because you're gonna feel the wrath of this art degree. You are gonna hear me. Those little breaks in between my speeches there, every time my sentence gets cut off by a new sentence of mine, that is my mind actively working for a rhetorical analysis of this art piece that I consider a song I'm going to present before you. It can be anything. And I'm going to come at you with a little bit of a background. But for the most part, when I talk about my stuff, I think it's just going to be more my feeling and interpretation surrounding it. That's kind of how I listen to music. I'm an all over the place sort of listener. I don't think I have any playlists that are exclusively one genre. I think I'm just used to associating things with, dare I say, vibe. And so, I don't know, music for me has always been a feeling thing. It's something that really touches me in a lot of ways. Like all the best things in life.
Stretch break while he makes that joke.
Stretch break while I make that joke, while I let it simmer in. You know, I can hear everyone laughing at it. And I just want to give them a break. It's not funny anymore because we spent too much time on it.
No.
It wasn't funny to begin with.
When I came back from taking a pee, there are hordes of women outside the door of that studio just waiting to hear that joke.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now let's just get to it. We got a show to wrap up, folks. So my first pick of 3, I'm sorry, this is a long episode, especially for a pilot. Thank you for staying this far. Is by a very mysterious British guy. I like mysterious British guys. Mm-hmm. On a good day, I consider myself a mysterious British guy. Mm-hmm. This is an artist who started out making very radio-friendly, movie soundtrack-friendly, catchy folk songs. And they're very good. They're very good. Just because they're easy listening does not diminish the quality. That's not my intent to say that. But he had a weird change of course where he put out this pretty well-loaded album. It's a long album. That's what I mean to say. It's a well-loaded album of very easy listenable, catchy songs. And it gave him great success. And following that, he has since gotten weirder and weirder. And as a result, his commercial success has kind of like hovered around just under radio play, I'd say. Like he has the occasional breakout hit, but for the most part, it's just kind of like his experimental art projects. Mm-hmm. And he recently put out a new album this year. And it's about as far from his roots as he can go so far. You know, I mean, I wouldn't say that because he can always get weirder. But it's in terms of like the evolution of this guy's musical journey. This is as far as we've come. We are very far from rom-com soundtrack skipping in the fields music here. That being said, this is a very experimental, weird soundboard type of guy. But he always finds a way to keep these catchy, nostalgic, really beautiful riffs within these just abstract soundscapes. And I'm going to share one with you today. This is a song that has been simultaneously the most beautiful and most sad song I've heard all year. It's a song that, up until very recently, I had no idea what it was about. But by God, it sounds pretty. And the words are nice.
Right.
This is Days of Lantana by Ben Howard. This motherfucker, dude. This motherfucker. Love him to death. Something about these songs, man. There's like so many quotes.
Yeah.
So many quotes. I can't even talk about this one song enough today.
Yeah.
Like we could have a whole hour-long episode. Not that our episodes are an hour. Right now we're at 33 minutes and we're 2 songs in out of 6.
Sorry.
It's not you. It's not you. I mean, we had to introduce ourselves too. Yep. But this motherfucker has the best one-liners out of any singer-songwriter, maybe with the exception of Lil Wayne, I have ever seen.
Singer-songwriter. Hey. No, you're right. No, you're right. My bad.
Made How to Love.
Yeah. You're right. No, you're right. My bad.
That is singing and songwriting.
I love Mr. Wayne. I'm sorry.
Mr. Carter.
I love Mr. Carter. Sorry.
But, man, I mean, something about Ben Howard. He structures a song like a rickety bridge. It does its thing. Mm-hmm. You know, there is a point A, there is a point B, there is a structure. But holy shit, do you feel that thing shaking the whole time you're on it? You do not know if this is going to be structurally sound or not. You know what I mean?
I think, but I want you to unpack that because I don't fully understand.
What I mean is...
Or I understand. I want to make sure the people at home get it.
And again, not a music theory guy.
Okay.
Not a composer myself.
Yes, you've made... Yeah.
I only know the bare minimum when it comes to song structure. Mm-hmm. I can maybe tell you what a bridge is if you ask me.
What's a bridge?
It's the little thing after before the last chorus.
So it's before and after a chorus.
After a chorus. What's the thing after the last verse before the last chorus? the little switch up in the 75% mark.
There's a word for that, and it's escaping me. But I know a bridge is like the. I'm not going to take up more of your time. The bridge is like the lines before or after a chorus. It can be before or after. That doesn't have to be both. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be both. Where it's the thing. It's meant to be the hook. It's the thing that pulls you in.
Case and point.
Yeah.
See, my music knowledge and terminology is lacking.
Sure.
However, even with my limited knowledge, I can tell that the way Ben structures a song is fucked up. It's weird.
That's true.
Now, there is a hook.
That I get. Yeah.
There's a hook. There's verses. There's a beginning and an end. You know, he ties things together very nicely.
Yeah.
But even as you're listening to it, there's slight little changes throughout it, you know? Like the instruments on the second verse might sound pretty familiar, but what's that over here? What's this little synth going on over here? What's this little saxophone doing here? You know, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just kind of popping in. You know, maybe there's like almost sounds like a mixing error, but it's kind of done on purpose just to keep you on your toes. Like I don't know if you noticed the sample at the end of the song.
I didn't.
It kind of had a hiccup in the middle of it that it didn't have in the beginning. Where it was like, Bobby. You know, like, oh, dude, love that shit.
Yeah.
I man.
He has a very interesting palette. That's the thing I've noticed about him because you have been jamming on Ben Howard for many months now.
Many years, and we will hear more of him in the future.
So he has been my illustrious compatriot to my technically left. He's at an angle. Is a very big Ben Howard fan. And you can tell because the way he just spoke about him so eloquently and picked out a very little moment that someone like me, a casual Ben Howard fan, did not notice. He, all the songs he sent me from Ben Howard have sounded like they're coming from a different fucking dude. And not in a bad way because they're all interesting. But they're all, this one I remember sort of, but I remember the feeling it gave me more than anything else. It's in the same way that the first song was very high up on the register, this is a very sinking, very low and swinging sort of feel. Do you know what I mean? Like it feels as though you're swimming while listening to it.
It's very comforting.
Yes.
It's a very, very comfortable song. And what strikes me about it the most are the lyrics. And,
yes. I was reading them. I was reading them as we were listening.
And again, I'm not speaking for Ben here. This is my interpretation. I also am not, I love Ben to death, but I'm not, involved in his personal life. I don't know what he's got going on. What I do know is that prior to the release of this album, prior to the release of this album, Ben suffered some pretty major health issues. I don't want to say exactly what they are because I don't want to mess it up. I don't know for sure, but I do know that they were serious health issues. And clearly, given the lyrical content here, I think that's put a bit of a nihilistic parasite into Ben's mind, or at least he's trying his best to fight against that idea. Like I don't know who Agatha is that he refers to in the song, Agatha being this recurring character that he's going on these walks with, but there are lines in here, like in the first verse he says, "If you were to tell her the days are numbered, I'd break the teeth in your fake-ass smile." It's a very threatening line.
Yeah.
In a very soft song.
Yeah, I caught that. Yeah.
It almost feels like he's going on this walk through the flowers.
Yes.
And he hears you say something, and like, while Agatha, he lets Agatha take a few steps before him, but then he kind of leans over his shoulder to you, and he's like, "Hey, listen, shut the fuck up. Like, don't ruin this moment for her.
Yeah.
Don't tell her that we're all going to die one day. I swear to God, don't fucking do it." And even though it's a break in the comfort, even though it's an aggressive moment, I find it extra comforting. Because he's almost saying, hey, that nihilistic thought that you're having, that sort of like pessimistic, like no matter how beautiful this day is, it's a numbered day and we're all going to die one day. Shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up and enjoy the walk through the flowers, man. Just same thing like later on in the second verse, he starts talking about Curly, the baker's boy. And I don't know who Curly is. I don't know what him being a baker's boy has to do with this. But Curly's turning to Ben, and he's saying things like, "The world only turns twice. Once for the laughter, and once for the memories after. All the rest is just kicking through weather and fines." Like, again, it's existential.
Yes.
He's talking about how he interprets the flow of life.
Yeah.
And I think these sort of themes are seeping into his instrumentation as well. It's like these beautiful little riffs and these beautiful little cradles and carries, but all these little unexpected happenings keep threatening to invade, but they never really do.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like an intrusive thought that you're stuffing down. It's very therapeutic.
It's very interesting you say that, because the feeling I was getting, it feels just a level above, like the earth, and then just a level below heaven. Not purgatory.
Yeah.
But you feel as though, like you said, you feel like you're going through a magical walk through the flowers, but almost like you're watching yourself go through a walk through the flowers, because there's a level of separation with the reverb and the echo that he does on these, and like the most fucking, again, I cannot explain to you how fucking absurd this palette of sounds is, because I was trying to place like where everything was coming from, and even any sort of instrumentation, and I'm just kind of sitting here and I'm like, where the fuck is he pulling these goddamn sound effects out of? So it's very much like you're saying. It's very much I'm here but I'm removed. And with what you're saying about his health, it probably felt to him, I gotta make music reflecting what I'm feeling. I'm not feeling very much like I'm gonna be here long, but I'm not quite in heaven yet. So it's one foot in both of those domains. Do you know what I mean?
Right. And there's a lot of that sort of imagery and themes throughout the rest of the album as well. I won't go too deep into it because I want to focus on this song. But just the idea that, maybe, again, I don't know the extent and the severity of his health issues, but having any sort of brush with your own mortality is going to stick with you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to trigger some sort of PTSD.
Yes.
And... What?
No, just
is PTSD funny to you, Kobe? Is
hysterical? No, it's not that. It's you being like, it's gonna stick with you, and me going, yes. That's all I can think to say. I'm like, very good. Yes.
But
therapist father, by the way, no big.
Man. Yeah, I'm gonna kill the vibe here. But as someone who often struggles with depressive, intrusive thoughts and sort of like envisions of my own mortality, despite how much I'm enjoying myself in life. The idea that something like that can be acknowledged and addressed in such a pretty song is, like I said earlier, it's double reassuring. Because it's like, you can be sitting there listening to a pretty song and your mind can get in a dark place. But the fact that Ben is also reaching into that dark place with you and then pulling you back out of it in kind of a funny way.
Yeah.
Like when I first heard him saying, and break the teeth in that fake ass smile. I'm like, all right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Like, shut the fuck up, Curly, or whoever said that shit.
Even the name Curly.
Yeah, let's get back on our fucking walk, huh? But yeah, I love that song. There will be more Ben Howard in the future.
I like I love music that can really tap into what you're really feeling, because I feel as though, I don't think it's a big shock. Music is a very sensual sort of feeling where it can be the hardest lick you've ever heard in your entire fucking life. But I'm not going to call out any artist by name specifically, but basically, I feel as though there's a lot of music today, especially pop music, radio pop music. Thank you very much. I feel as though it sort of goes out of its way to make something catchy and something snappy and something you can cling on to very quickly. Whereas something like this, which made you feel so deeply, I mean, you're talking about it as you should. You're talking about it like someone who studied it, who has listened to it over and over again, listening to the intricacies. Why does this make me feel that way? It's not just I have a cut on my skin. It's I need to push this down and feel the nerves in it if I can get visceral for a moment, right? It's very... I think a lot of pop music today, and I don't want to take down pop music, but you wanted opinions. I feel as though, and this is not even a new one, a lot of pop music today is very focused on what can make us money, and it's understandable. This is a late stage capitalism, consumerist, eat or be eaten society. I get it. I really do get it. Right? Yeah. Me, all fucking 23 years of age, learned man. The thing about it is, it's very much like
punk rocker.
Right. It's more, nephew of a punk rocker, no big. So the biggest thing about it is that this, to make a very long story short, this sticks out as technically this is fucking indie pop. This is alt indie. That's what Google says. This is alt indie pop. And the biggest thing is this sticks out like a fucking sore thumb. Indie and alternative are in caps, and pop is like all lowercase and like pretty far away from alt indie. Because it is. It's very much a sit there and think with it. You need to be sitting there, listening to him and going, why is this made this way? And it makes sense. It makes sense. You being a writer are like, what did he mean by these lines? And it's really good that it evoked that. I
He's
think
a writer's writer.
He is a musician's musician, as
Exactly.
it were, too.
Yeah.
He is very much that type. And I thank you for sharing. Sorry, that was so canned, but thank you. It was really great.
Yeah. All right, let's move on.
You're gonna hate me for this
Why am I going to hate you for this?
because I gotta pee again.
Oh, absolutely. Let's take a break.
I'll be right back.
We're back.
Hello.
Hello.
So we are going to take a quick sprint to the finish as fast as we can.
No, we're
so we're gonna try.
We are going to take as much time as we need.
So
We have to be gone in like half an hour. Yeah. 4 songs left.
so all right. So we're gonna get right into it. So quick intro. I was about to do a cute little thing on where in England this guy is from comparatively to Ben Howard. I'm not doing all that. He's from Essex. He is from Essex, England. Essex, England, presumably to the east of wherever my friend Ben Howard is.
I have no idea where Ben Howard's from.
He is a British folk singer. This song is from a 1998 collab album he did with Wilco. The name of that is I don't remember.
Mermaid Avenue?
Mermaid
Volume
Avenue.
1. I
Volume
believe there
1.
is 3.
Guess who's listening to more Billy Bragg on the way home? Because this is Billy Bragg.
This boy.
This is Billy Bragg with Walt Whitman's niece.
Walt Whitman's niece. Let's get right into it.
All right. Doesn't that?
I'm scared, dude.
Doesn't
You're
that?
fucking-
Yeah, my bad.
That old Kobe drawl.
That was
your McConaughey.
That was a folky mix for you today.
Mix.
It was a folky mix. So, my friends, that was the gorgeous Walt Whitman's niece by Billy Bragg and Wilco. Wilco, of course, of indie country, alt Americana type fame. Speaking of niche genre titles. So, I love this song so much. I'm not well read or learned on it
He's
because
sweating profusely. He's hard as a rock. His shirt is coming off. He is foaming at the mouth.
I have crossed my legs in contempt of court, as it were. So, this is an unbelievable song. I love this song so much. It is gorgeous in its simplicity because I have just read the lyrics for the first time. That is how not concerned I was with what this man was really fully saying because I adore this so much. This has a beautiful twang to it. This has a beautiful twang to it without going too far down the road of, and now I'm going to sing you a song. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's great for me, sometimes it's not. This is a delicious, rusty British folk song with the delicious Billy Bragg and the lovely Wilco. I love this song because the feeling it evokes me because I love songs that they sing a song and then the repetitive phrase or anything going on is the guy singing it far away from a mic with a chorus of people behind him.
I was going to say, I love that call and response.
Love call and response.
It is beautiful.
It gives me the same feeling in like a different ballpark, if that makes sense. Like same sport, different ball field as Home by Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros, who, and we're not going to get super deep into it, his band is meant to be a pseudo-cult. It's meant to be a cult. Just figured I would tell you that. It's a great song, but his band is meant to be a cult with him as Jesus.
Forewarning to the cult sensitive.
The cult sensitive, yes. And any of Chucky Manson's girls in the crowd. So, in any event, Chucky Manson. In any event.
They're family. They're not girls, Kobe.
They're family.
They're family.
Like Olive Garden. So, I love how rustic this is. It's true. I love how rustic this is. I love the chorus of it. I love his voice so much. He has a different song that he did that I sent you. He has an album where he sings, at least one, he might have more. He sings songs from the American Railroad with his fun little friend whose name escapes me at the moment. I don't remember who the collab album is with. It is called Shine a Light, Field Recordings from the Great American Railroad with Billy Bragg and Joe Henry. And it's not a surprise to me. The best songs on that album are the ones that are fronted by Billy Bragg. He has a gorgeous voice. It suits this sort of Americana feel so much. I love this song because it feels exactly like he is just telling you a story of a crazy night he had when he was super drunk with his seafaring pals. You, my friend, pointed out a lyric to me in the midst of this that I had never heard fully correctly for the first time, where he says, "I laid my head down in her lap. I won't say which head." And then hold on, because then he understands.
It gets better. It gets better.
Everyone, hold on to your hats, because the next
Hold on to your heads.
Hold on to your. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very clever.
Thanks. I try. English degree.
English degree. Art major. So the next line, he gets very cheeky with it, if I may coin a British term.
Ooh.
He gets very cheeky with it, where he says, I laid my head down, I won't say which head, down in her lap. I can tell you which lap it was, is what he basically says. And I love cheeky shit like that. My last song, the table shook. My last song is very, very cheeky, before not to get too ahead of myself. I love his voice. I dig Wilco. I love the feeling this gives me. It's almost fall. Folk music screams fall.
It does.
I would say listen to that. Listen to a couple cuts off of that American Railroad record he did. He just has a great feel for Americana despite being from the fatherland of England. Any thoughts, George?
It's a fun song. I mean, the song is depicting, like you said, this fun night out. Perhaps substances involved. Definitely some, young...
Some heads and some laps.
Some heads and some laps. Won't say which.
Won't say which.
But even with that being the subject of the song, that's also the energy that the song is putting on display as well. Like even the call and response. It sounds like he's singing it in a bar.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like he's on stage in like a wooden bar and a bunch of drunk dudes that also sound like him.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
Are calling it back at him, and that I love it when songs do that. Sometimes it's a very fine line. Stuff like that can be very distracting when you kind of put a specific atmosphere in your song like that. And what I mean by atmosphere is when you, because there's plenty of rock songs, there's plenty of like even rap songs, even indie songs where they put in all these environmental factors that make it sound like you're in a very specific setting.
Yeah.
And that's a difficult thing to pull off well, because sometimes you cannot be in that setting and you're hearing that and you're like, why the fuck why am I listening to Biggie get head for 2 minutes on this album? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I can't play it at my place of work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But here, even within the context of this, what was that, 3-4 minute song?
Yeah, roughly.
It works. It pulls you right in. And it doesn't do it with any sort of distracting narrative. It doesn't do it with any sort of distracting, nothing too crazy in the sound effect department or the ambience department. It's just the energy of it. The energy screams exactly what the song is depicting.
Yes.
So it's immediately immersive, despite being a rather simple call and response song, despite it being fun, despite it rapping about heads and laps. Won't say which.
Won't say which one.
It's very, very well done. It sucks you right in.
It does, and sucks. It's we won't say which. So the thing, I've loved this song for many a moon now. Many a moon. It's been like a month since I heard it for the first time.
There's many moons in a month.
It's a couple. So about 30.
At least a cycle.
Yeah, roughly 30. So I won't take up too much more of your time. I just love this song. I love it. It's a great folk song. Get into Billy Bragg this fall. That is my mission for you. The last thing I'll say about this, and this is pretty much a what about's nothing, sort of like just a very quick statement. I like songs where you're listening to the guy's voice and you're like, I wonder where this fucking guy's from. This guy sounds like he could be from like Virginia, like a South Carolina type.
I was surprised when you said British.
Well, and he's British. He's from Essex. Like, and you don't realize it. And then he starts going to the spoken word part, and he's like, "Oh, the Walt Whitman." And I love shit like that because, like, last thing I'll say, Paul McCartney mentioned "Take a Shot." Paul McCartney's Ram. Fucking love that record. One of the best records by a Beatle. Not the best because George Harrison exists. But
Toby loves Ram by Paul McCartney.
I love Ram by Paul McCartney. And so, don't make that fucking stink face at me. The point is, so there's a part in this song that he has called, Uncle Albert and Admiral Halsey. I don't remember the full name of it, but it's that one. And like, there's a point in the middle where the spoken word part happens, and you remember how fucking exhaustingly British these people can fucking sound, because he goes, "We're so sorry, Uncle Albert, but we haven't done a bloody thing all day. We're so sorry, Uncle Albert, but the kettle's on the boil, and we're so easily called away." And that's not an exaggeration the way he said it. That is exactly how he says it.
Those syllables are syrup. Molasses.
I love a British guy reminding everyone how exhaustingly British he is. And with that, we are going to move into song 2. Sorry, George's second song.
All right. Speaking of accents, this man's an interesting character. Criminally underrated. And dare I say, this is not slander to the man himself, but I think he is also actively not trying to keep himself underrated, but he's certainly not doing anything to help break into the mainstream, which is something I love about him. Every single time he has a close brush with some pop off of a song or a pop off of his assistance on another song, he doubles down on his next project and completely immerses himself in this super hyper specific aesthetic, making songs that kind of sound like whatever the fuck he wants. And what he wants is good. It's good.
Yeah.
This is a very, very storied man. Every day I feel like I'm learning some new batshit crazy thing about him. I don't know how he's lived this long. I'm so glad he has. I'm so excited to see what he's got next. But I think that this song, it's rather simple and straightforward compared to some of his crazier work, but it's a good sort of like pamphlet to an upcoming memoir, I feel like. It is a rare look backward. It is him seemingly in a new, more mature frame of mind. Not to say that his old stuff wasn't mature, but this topic seems more God, I'm blanking on the word. Reminiscent. Seems more reminiscent. It seems more like he's actually stopping to take a breather and feel how these experiences are settling in his life, in his mind, how he's interpreting shit. What is he taking for granted? No. I'm gonna get right into it.
All right, here we go.
This is Best Life by Danny Brown. Man, first time.
Those fucking violins. Ooh.
Yeah, right. That's Q-Tip. I think that's Q-Tip. I know he executive produced this shit, but let me check on this song.
Ooh, those fucking violins, my man. The fucking strings. Get out of here with that.
All right, so it doesn't say who produced. I'm going to assume Q-Tip because I know he's executive producer. But man, the first time I heard that song, I was so disappointed. That was the second single for this album coming off of Atrocity Exhibition, which is his previous album. And that album is fucking bonkers. I was so ready to hear Danny kind of come in with like these crazy high-pitched strings. Oh, it is Q-Tip?
It is Q-Tip.
Thank you, Jamie. And
Jamie, throw it up on the screen.
I was so ready to hear some like bonkers, abrasive, loud, zany shit about like fucking doing coke and like Danny Brown shit. You know Danny Brown shit.
Danny Brown shit.
But as I've gotten older, I'm only 23.
Yeah.
I'm not Danny's age, but
ancient.
But as I come to multitask in terms of how much I look forward and how much I look backward, as opposed to strictly looking forward, I really appreciate a song like this, man. Especially coming from like a rapper as zany as Danny. It's such a nice break. Like it's
a meditation for Danny
It's
Brown.
exactly a meditation. And it's got every element that still makes him him.
Yes.
So it's very clearly like he's not changed. I mean, he has changed. Well, but he's not a different person. He's the same person having learned from his past. And there's little nuggets of wisdom in here too that I really appreciate.
Yeah.
And they're laced within these like really funny to listen to.
Oh my God.
When he says, "Let the past be the past," like a bitch with an ass.
I fucking love that.
Left you for a man with cash. Came back, ass fatter, talking about getting back together. I'm about to smash.
Let's go. I love that.
It's like,
that's so fun.
It's like, yeah, he's living his best life. I mean, he's saying, yeah, I could be fucked up over this. I could make a big deal over this, or I could just take life as it is and enjoy it where I can. And there's something so respectable about that, especially coming from a guy who's been open about substance abuse and perhaps going too far on things that he enjoys and rolling around in excess. The ability to appreciate something for what it is and give himself the pleasure that he deserves, as opposed to creating an issue where there doesn't need to be one. Yeah, it's beautiful, and I think sonically the song kind of carries that same sentiment. I mean, even the hook just being this sort of like ba 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 like that. Oh, it's so nice. It sounds nostalgic. It sounds
Yes.
like an old record player skipping in another room while he
Yes.
sits there smoking a cigar in his sofa, thinking about the bitches with fat asses he used to smash. You know, like
Yeah.
it is
Yes.
perfectly encapsulates the sort of like brief moment in storytelling, and I love it. I love it for what it is.
You bring up I think you introed that perfectly. You gave it the exact thing it needed, where it's like the sample he uses, the la 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 sample he uses, it legitimately sounds like an old cartoon. It sounds you know what it is? It sounds like a commercial for Wheaties in the middle of your Sunday cartoons in like the 70s. And I don't know what the sample is. I haven't looked. But that's exactly what it sounds like. You bring up a great point. And to run it really quickly back with that line, I didn't even connect that line being connected to the next couple lines as like a storytelling routine, because I got it on a surface level thing where he's talking about let the past be the past like a bitch with an ass. Which by the way, love. My favorite, what I'm thinking about though when it says it is like when he's talking about the past, he's talking about the behind. What's behind? Like, so I took it very surface level. What you said makes so much more sense. It makes it even better and much more of a nugget of wisdom.
It took me a couple years to hit that point.
But the best Danny Brownisms are the ones that are just like something that your fucking buddy says to you that you're like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? That's so funny, but what the fuck are you on about? And Danny is the master of that. And
But then you think about it, and he's saying something.
And now I have a friend here
Let the
elucidating
past
it
be
for
the
me.
past. You
Like,
know?
but like,
She comes back, smash.
but in my mind, he's talking about a bitch with an ass, and I'm like, oh, like what's behind her? Like the past. That's really funny, Danny. And then it's like, no, Danny's actually trying to talk about something real serious, and I'm like, that's right, Danny. Yes,
Yeah.
Daniel.
Yes,
Very good point.
Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel. Yeah. I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
We're jamming on a Danny Brown thing right now. Love Danny.
Love to hear more from Danny in the future.
I'm
very excited for this next album. Long overdue.
Quote unquote 3 albums this year. My ass.
Yeah.
My ass.
Bullshit.
Bullshit.
Hopeful bullshit.
Hopeful bullshit.
Optimistically critical.
Yeah.
But man.
All right.
What's next?
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last song of the day for me. This is not the last song you will hear, though. Stick around. So, really quickly introing this band. This is a Los Angeles-based, how shall I say, pop punk, power pop, emo pop sort of band that I have been dying to get people into, and I don't think people take me seriously because they listen
People take him seriously.
You need to take me
It is
seriously.
time. Strap in, buckle up.
I am a very serious person making very
Take
serious points.
Kobe seriously.
It's time I get what I fucking deserve. So, anyways, this is this is off of a 2004 album called "Is a Real Boy." This is a power pop punk melodramatic as hell song. This is, and stick with me on this. This is "Wow, I Can Get Sexual Too" by Say Anything. Now, I feel as though I might have lost some people in the room.
Fucker, I still got a song left.
I know I might have lost some people in the room. I need you to walk with me on this one. I need you to extend.
You need me to touch myself on this one.
I need you to walk with me on this one, okay?
I'm extended for you. I'm
You
ready.
need you need to understand where I'm coming from with this, okay? And I feel as though I need to immediately go into backpedaling mode because I was jamming out to this song, and when I tell you every dance move I did, George was looking at me and just staring. So, with the context, I will give you this. Understand? I led in with this is a pop punk emo pop band, and that is exactly what this is.
That is exactly what this is.
I feel as though, first of all, real quick, I don't know if you caught it. The reference to my rabbi taught me in the old shul. This man, Max Bemis, is the most outwardly Jewish musician I have ever heard in my entire life. He is so for it, and I love that as a Jewish man myself. Love it. The coast to coast connection with Max Bemis. Love it. So again, with the precursor, this is 2000s pop punk power pop shit. It is melodramatic as hell. It is overly sexual. It is talking about something relatively serious and just making a total joke of it. The number one thing about Say Anything to remember, and this album specifically, again, is a real boy. Please listen to it if you caught anything from that you love. This is a long-ass album, and there are some misses on it, I won't lie, but goddamn does it hit. So, people don't really talk about this album when considering 2000s pop punk, power pop type shit. They talk Panic, they talk Fall Out Boy, they talk My Chemical Romance, they talk Pierce the Veil, all that stuff. I think this level of cheesiness was a bridge too far, because at that time there were emo types who took everything. There was a deep level of self-seriousness. I was in the emo phase
Me
myself.
included.
We both of us in this room had that experience.
But I feel like I fell more on the self-serious side, but we'll get there.
Exactly. So I feel as though this level of cheese was a bridge too far. I think everyone wanted to be self-serious. They were talking about very serious things, but they were talking about it in a very melodramatic way. The long, swoopy hair, the exaggerated vocals, which Max Bemis has very short hair. However, he does have overly exaggerated vocals. But this is melodrama that knows it's melodrama. This is a theater kid who knows he's a fucking theater kid. This is the butt of the joke who knows he's the butt of the joke. Is it cringy? Yeah, for a lot of people and in a lot of moments, yeah. First of all, you can be as cynical as you want, my friend.
I will not be cynical.
Was that not as catchy as anything? Seriously, was that not catchy?
It was catchy.
That was catchy as fuck, okay?
I have no cynicism here.
You're looking at me like a critic, and it's feeling cynical. I feel it's okay. So
That's just my resting bitch face, man.
this is it's true. This is my song that will lead me into the big thing that I want to say.
Kobe's big thing.
This is my
Let's
big.
see it.
This is Kobe's big. This is Kobe's big move. Fuck a guilty pleasure song. Fuck that. This is what this whole podcast, radio, whatever, even if it's just for friends and family, is about. It's about showing you music that we genuinely vibe with and genuinely makes us feel something.
This is Kobe's shameless pleasure.
Listen. For a very long time.
What's the opposite of guilty? Innocent.
Very good.
This is Kobe's
No. Can I say something?
innocent pleasure.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Very good. Sussing out by you. What's the opposite of guilty? Innocent.
I'm thinking of the Kinks, but go on.
So. This
The
is,
band.
I'm tired of living in fear with this song. I love this song.
You shouldn't live in fear anymore.
I love this band. I love this album. And
You should.
And I'm not afraid to say it. I love this corny ass shit. George, what do you think?
I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
You're looking at me terrified. You're so ready for me to tear you apart.
He was
and
staring
call
at me.
you
I was dancing like in my chair as much as I could, and he's staring at me.
because you're dancing in your chair as
no,
much
but
as you could.
no, but there's no joy in his eyes. He's just like, just a glare.
Did you just reference a face that you made for this audio-only recording?
He said, "I don't want you to see me dancing."
All right. Here are my thoughts.
Here you go.
Here are my thoughts.
Yeah.
Shocker. I liked it.
Ah.
Whoa. Now here's the thing.
We have pretty similar taste.
If I was in middle school,
Yeah.
I would not have liked it.
Oh,
Because when I was in middle school, I was such a pretentious fucking like wannabe emo punk, self-serious, as you mentioned, bitch, that I would have heard this guy's voice happily singing, "She touched herself," and like I would have been like, I couldn't be caught dead playing that shit. I would have been fucking shot in the street, and I would press skip on my iPod Nano before someone caught me listening to that shit as I bled out. I would
Yeah.
not stand for it. But nowadays, I have such a newfound appreciation for that kind of music. I didn't know it was called pop. What is it? Pop punk?
Pop punk, emo pop, power pop.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense having the pop in there because it's got that upbeat catchiness to it that you would expect from something with the pop label. And yeah, it's just fun.
Yeah.
It's just fun. I think not to make it about me, but as I get older, it's just it's more enjoyable to like shit like that. It's fun. This guy sounds like he's having fun. It's infectious. Even the topic, it's shock value, but it's good shock value.
Yeah.
I like it when shock value is mixed with extreme catchiness and extreme sort of like optimistic sounds, because it's like, first of all, it makes it easier to talk about such things, but second of all, it's just, it keeps you engaged. It keeps it fun. I mean, it might not be the type of punk or emo that dabbles with like death and pain and troublesome parents, but it still has the sort of edge to it, the taboo, the gritty fingers in the pussy type of thing going on that makes this genre so unpredictable and fun. And I appreciate that, and I like the style.
I'm so at ease. You saw me sit back in my chair. I feel as though I'm not gonna. We're gonna move on momentarily, but I think, interestingly, listening to what you were saying, I do think that it is a very, very melodramatic song, and it's not really about any one specific thing. However, it does have the pop punk elements where it's using a very melodramatic delivery, a very over-the-top, woe is me, this is the end of the fucking world moment to talk about This guy who literally can't decide if he wants to have casual sex with someone or be in a deeply committed relationship. The refrain at the end, I think refrain is the word you were looking for earlier in the podcast, by the way. The refrain later on in the song is literally him saying over and over again, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. In parentheses, the repetitive phrase is met you on the internet. Met you on the internet. So it's this guy who's struggling with an online relationship and wanting it to feel genuine and real, but understanding that the only way they can commit this very close, very intimate act of, having sex is through the phone. That's why you hear a phone call. The phone is literally the most prominent part of the song.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about the phone.
Yeah. I won't get too deep in the weeds because we are already moving very far past what we initially thought possible with this podcast. Thank you, as George said previously. Thank you for sticking with us. But yeah, that was my third song of the week. Thank you for sticking with me on this diatribe about why pop punk matters. Thank you.
All right. We're down to my final song.
The final song of the first episode, George.
George's final pick.
George's period.
George's final pick
The period at the end of a sentence. Sorry. George's
Well, that's just an ellipses now. You said that so much.
George's period at the end of the sentence.
My period.
At the end of the sentence.
George's period.
At the end of the sentence.
Let's get right into it. Okay. As I keep stretching, I gotta stop doing that. It fucks with my voice. That little they don't need to hear that shit, you know? The sound of joints popping in and out of place, the sound of muscles contracting, tendrils.
Do you feel as though
tendons tearing?
Do you feel as though you're in the room with us, dear listener? Do you feel connected to your local humble podcasters?
You should.
You should.
That's the point.
It's the point.
All right. 5 songs in, hour and 20 minutes in. It will not be this bad in the future.
We won't have as tight a schedule to hit.
We will not have as tight a schedule to hit. It'll be worse. So this last song of mine, anybody who's close to me, anybody who talks to me on a semi-consistent basis has heard this story, has heard this find of mine, because for some reason, whatever's waiting for me up in the sky or down below has gifted me with this ability to stumble upon psychedelic rock albums from the 70s that from acts that only have 1 or 2 at most albums, maybe 3, but I fucking love this shit. I love it. I don't know how it ends up on streaming services. I'm sure someone like stumbles into an antique store and just like digitizes a record one day or something, but just these people that somehow got a record deal or didn't even get a record deal, just made a record for the fuck of it in the 70s when that shit was way harder than it is today, and just put their heart and soul into one album and then said, fuck it, I'm done.
Yeah.
Or maybe they didn't, but they just didn't.
Circumstances prevailed.
Yeah, they just didn't make any more. But this one guy, I could find very little about him as I've researched him. But what I do know is he allegedly worked as a janitor. He allegedly lived in the California redwoods with his wife in a cabin, and apparently he is one of the only men in American history to die from a weed overdose.
It's the best way to go. It's the only way to go.
And what a shame.
What a shame.
What a shame.
What a shame.
Because this album,
by the way,
while rough.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, I'm sorry.
What were you going to say?
I was just going to say this album cover, he looks like a guy that died.
Oh, it's haunting.
He died.
It's haunting.
Because I know where we're going with this. That's why I'm getting pumped over here because I love this song. He looks like he died. He looks like he died.
Yeah, it looks like Shaggy if he was like 60, you know?
It's a good way to put it.
And I guess he was with all the fucking weed he might have been. But yeah, apparently he just locked himself in that redwood cabin for a extended period of time with his wife. His wife does a lot of the vocals on this album too. You'll hear her in this song. Cranked out this rough, admittedly not mix the best record, but wow, there's some crazy ideas in here, man. And I think no one song embodies this man's isolated creativity as much as Juggernaut. This is Juggernaut.
By Stan Hubbs.
Man. Man, Stan. Fucking love him.
Yeah, it sounds like
Fucking
green.
love
It sounds like greening out in the redwoods, doesn't it?
It does.
It does.
It sounds exactly like that. But man, what a way to go, huh?
Sorry,
what
I
a
shouldn't
fucking
whistle into
No,
this.
go for it, man.
Damn,
Fuck
man.
it. It's just
It's
a
audio.
microphone, yeah. Who gives a shit?
Who gives a fuck?
Man,
It's awesome.
man, that's all I can say. I mean, here's the thing. I discovered this last summer. That shit carried me through last summer, dog. I think I listened to that at least once a day, and it's a fucking commitment.
It's a
dude.
7.5 minute song.
7.5 minute song with a lot of inconsistencies in it. You can hear that it's not mixed well.
No.
Yeah, it's not even like however they digitized it. Like you can hear the fucking graininess of it. You can hear the dirt and the grime and the fucking. You can hear the dust between the XORs, if they even fucking used them in the fucking 70s or 80s, whenever this was made.
1980.
1980. Thank you, Jamie.
But,
But-
1980.
But man, like just something about the idea of it. I think that's part of the reason why I love it so much. I think
Yeah.
the concept is very alluring to me. Just the idea of like trapping yourself in a cabin, allegedly. There's no evidence on how this record was made, but the mystique around this man and having him create such a layered, such a empty, such a relatively unstructured, just soundscape here.
Yeah.
I mean, like the I don't even know what to call it. There's like a little grainy sort of ring that comes in now and then. It's like a dun, dun. Like you hear it constantly, but it sounds like super fucking sandy and
Yep.
grimy. And that's kind of the thing that carries you through the whole song. But then on top of that, you got these like just squelching guitar.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, it's like a fucking cat being like
Yeah.
dragged around
Yeah.
on fucking nails and shit. And it is so visceral.
Yes.
And it pulls you right out of that lullaby. But at the same time, it just grabs you and it dances you around. It twirls you. You know, it fucking spins you. It throws you in the air. And
Yeah.
it's just... And then the lyrics.
Yeah.
Him and, I'm assuming his wife. I think it's his wife.
I think you're
I
right.
believe his wife is credited as some vocal help on this album. But like what they're singing about, like I don't know what it means. I don't know much about this man, but it's very vague. But an accident can happen to anyone, shit like that, and then tell that to the self-centered man.
Yeah.
Make sure the woman understands there's no such thing as loyal. It's
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
Something about it is so haunting. It's like a ghost talking to me.
Yeah, Roxy, let's go to the cathedral or something.
Exactly. And it's just this. It doesn't sound human.
No.
Which is ironic
Yeah.
given the alleged circumstances from which this was made. This
Yes.
this does not sound like a big budget, computerized company production.
No.
It sounds like a human creation.
Yes.
But the sounds being created do not sound human. Does that make sense? Like,
You know what it is? It sounds like, because you sent this to me, and I listened to it, and I sort of listened to it really kind of in awe of the fact that it exists, because you sit there and you're listening to it, and you get lost on it, and I can only imagine. I've never done myself. It probably sounds really good on substances. I wouldn't know. Wink. So the thing about it is, the feeling I get is it sort of feels like there was never a time where this didn't exist. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what you're saying, where it feels as though there was never a world before Stan Hubbs went into that cabin and died of smoking too much of that sweet, sweet green. It doesn't sound like there was a time before that. And frankly, it doesn't sound like there will be a time where this is not plastered on some wall in some collective unconsciousness in whatever, the north of California. Because that's what it sounds like. It's really kind of unbelievable because it doesn't sound like anything, and yet it sounds like everything.
it does. It does. I'm trying to think of how to say this without sounding incredibly hipster, but I'm very glad it's so unknown. And I only say that because I don't know how I would have reacted to this had I heard it in like a psychedelic rock classics playlist.
Oh, yeah.
Or like if
Oh,
I heard
yeah.
it on the radio for the first time, or if I heard it in a movie for the first time. I don't know if the circumstances would have been helpful to my listening experience. I think the fact that you have to go out of your way to find it. I mean, it might be in a few Spotify playlists. I know that this song in particular, Juggernaut, is his most popular for good reason. It's also, in my opinion, his best on the album.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you kind of have to deliberately find it and you have to lock yourself in, and it doesn't really fit any sort of genre playlist I can think of. I mean, I have it in a few like playlists of mine, but it always sticks out.
Yeah.
It's not quite psychedelic rock. It's not quite ambient. It's not quite even like a sad, moody song because of those like screeching guitars. It just dominates its own presence, and it stays a little long, but it stays so long that it's just, it comes in, it sucks you in for 7 minutes, and it leaves.
Yeah. It's a perfect combination of like this long, almost masturbatory prog guitar solo, but without all the bells and whistles, where you're sitting there and you're like, you can listen to that with a buddy, and it doesn't feel like, you can't listen to like the band Yes with a friend, not really. You know, you can't listen to like a super long prog song with a buddy. This is a combination of that, and it's like, it's also psychedelic, and it's also stoner rock, and it's also like this weird acid washed thing. Like it ambles in, it makes its presence known, and then it sounds like you're listening to the last few things it has to say before you never see it again.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, and it's exactly what you're saying. It's like if it's the sort of thing where if you found it on like if your dad was listening to it when you were a kid, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's cool, but that's like my dad's music.
Exactly.
Like finding this the way you did, and by proxy the way I did, because I'm the main character in everyone's life, of course. So the finding it in that way, it feels much more precious. It feels like a not a commodity, but it feels like a genuine experience to have found it the way that it was found, right? And the precious shit is always the shit that you find by accident. The good shit is always the shit that you find when you're not looking, right? That's what I think. Because finding something you're looking for has a level of anticlimax to it, because you're like, all right, what do I do now? But this was very much like a, what's a Stan Hubbs and who is Juggernaut? And then, holy shit, here we are talking about it on our podcast.
Here we are. Yeah, it feels like devil music.
Yes.
And what I mean by that, not in the sense that it would get you burned at the stake for listening to it in the wrong time. I mean, it might. But it feels like you're committing some shit. Listen to it, you know what I mean? Like I said earlier, you go out of your way to find it. This isn't something you stumble upon. This is something that someone whispers in your ear as they walk past. This is something that your waitress writes on the napkin behind the receipt or something. You know what I mean? This is the back door in the alley that says "Come in." This is the experience that you don't know what the fuck just happened. You don't know how to recreate it, but like, and it feels wrong, and it doesn't necessarily make you feel good about yourself. You could feel the dirt and the grime, but at the same time, there's such a deeper beauty to it.
If I don't know what, it's very subjective. If there was such a thing as cool person music, no, genuinely. If you're watching like a movie and you're like, pretend you're producing a movie and they're talking about what do we want the cool guy, the stereotypical cool guy, to come in listening to, like, but it's cool guy in a way that like the Drifter is cool, in a way that like the Burnout is cool, in a way that like the motherfucker who sits around and doesn't say anything, and then he says something, and you're thinking about that shit for days. You just feel fucking cool. I can't speak to anyone else, but I'll say this. Driving around, listening to Juggernaut, late in the evening, coming home from doing something that took a lot of effort, and you're driving home and you're satisfied with that effort, and you're coming home, and you listen to this song, you feel like you're the only person who knows the most important thing that has ever happened, and you know when it's going to happen, and you know what it's going to look like, and you know the effects it's going to have. You are on an island unto yourself. No one can fucking touch you. Do you know what I mean? You're
a Juggernaut.
You are a... Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. It's fucking awesome. I'm so glad that you brought that. It's awesome. All right, Kobe. So, Episode 1 in the books. Thank you to any bizarro motherfucker who sat down and listened to however long this was.
1 hour 40.
I can promise you that we will have a better idea of what we're doing next time. I cannot promise you we will be more buttoned up, but I promise you, thank you for anyone who listened, even if it was just 2 of you. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for listening to this.
We will get more concise as we go.
We will get more concise. We're learning.
Or not.
We're learning.
Or not. But you know what? I'm doing this for fun.
So am
I
I.
don't know about you.
I'm very.
You are?
Yeah,
You're
I
doing
am.
this for fun?
I am.
Did you have fun?
I had fun. Did you have fun, George?
I did. And you know what, you fucking greedy motherfuckers who want more time and less confinement with us in your ear.
Less pee breaks.
You know what, you fucking...
Yeah. Criticize them. Get mad at them. Episode 1.
I don't want to criticize them.
So, real quick, thank you guys for listening if you're listening. This has been Sleeper Suplex. We look forward to serving you once more.
Sleeper Suplex.
Sleeper Suplex.
See you soon.